going on, y'all? I want to talk about exposing false teachers today. Going to ask that you watch till the end to get some context, to hear my heart on what I'm saying. And I think that you're going to really benefit, I believe, from the conversation. So first thing that I want to talk about is liking and subscribing, because that would just be really beneficial. And the Lord told me that you should. No, I'm just kidding. Totally playing. I would never, ever seriously say that. But if you did, that would still be dope because it just gets the gospel out to more people. Sorry, probably joking, poor taste. Anyways, false teachers. Well, there you go. I'm on that list now because of that joke I just made. So false teachers, we have a dilemma, and YouTube has caused this dilemma of everybody talking about false teachers all of the time. And one of the parts, the facets of false teachers and false teaching that I want to discuss is the section of this person, so-and-so is a false teacher because they are associated with so-and-so. That person's a false teacher because they ended up hanging out with and spending time with so-and-so, and that so-and-so person believes X, Y, and Z, and that makes the first person a false teacher because they, spend some time around whoever else, or have been seen, preaching at their church, or maybe they said that they liked or loved that person or whatever else. Francis Chan is somebody who's been, accused of this a ton as of lately. He, hugged Todd White at the Send a few years back. He's said that he is friends with Bill Johnson. I just heard him most recently say that he liked Michael Koulianos, and he just preached at Michael Koulianos' church. He is the pastor of Jesus Image, and he is the son-in-law of Benny Hinn. So therefore, and then the other thing was, Francis, he had spoken at the Send, and Benny Hinn was at the Send. Therefore, since Francis was where Benny Hinn was, that Francis now agrees with everything Benny Hinn agrees with. So now he's now pointed out as a false teacher. I think that us making these sorts of claims are not only just silly, but also very dangerous for us as Christians to make and accuse of other people. Here's the first reason why. Consider yourself for a second. Scripture tells us that we cannot take out the speck in a brother's eye if we have a plank in our own. And it tells us to be careful how we judge, because by the same measure that we judge another, we will be judged ourselves. The reason that I think this is worth really considering in your personal life is the likelihood of you spending time around somebody who's a dear friend of yours, maybe who goes to the church you go to, or otherwise goes to your school, maybe as part of your workplace. The likelihood of you being in a place where somebody else who would be considered a false teacher, or somebody who just does not have correct or great doctrine, is super likely, like extremely high chance that you are correlated, even if unintentionally, with somebody else who's a false teacher by definition, or just somebody who has bad doctrine or whatever, just somebody who you don't agree with their doctrine. Maybe there's a like almost a guaranteed chance, unless you live under a rock. So does that make you a false teacher? Would you consider yourself a false teacher because you spend time with these people? Part number 2 I want to consider is, how would anybody ever have a change of heart, view, or mind on these points if nobody ever spent time with them? So somebody like, again, I'll just use Francis Chan as an example. If somebody like Francis Chan was never around a false teacher, or somebody who had false teachings, or just somebody who you didn't agree with them doctrinally, then if no one was like that was around, then they would never change their views. So is your goal as a Christian for people to stay in the views and the beliefs that they always have? Final point I want to make on that part specifically is that view that they have actually considered or defined as making that person a false teacher? False teaching and false teachers are two totally different things. Anything that would not be biblically accurate is a false teaching. A false teacher is not the same thing. Every Christian on the planet has false teaching. It doesn't make every Christian a false teacher. God judges by the inward parts of our heart. He judges by specifically our intentions. Our intentions mean a lot to Jesus. I will know that because Scripture shares that really clearly in Matthew's chapter 5 through 7. Jesus makes this pretty clear that our intentions are really important to him. Jesus talks about our intentions behind giving could be bad, and that makes even us giving money not actually worth anything. Our prayer and fasting, same things. You can do something with the right heart, though, as well, and actually do the wrong thing and still not be condemned for it. Meaning that you can try to do something that God actually did not call you to, or maybe that's even technically, again, sin in the concept of missing the mark. Like, for example, like people who will do like a sugar fast. Like, I don't think that God's going to condemn you or be disappointed with you because you did a sugar fast, even though the definition of fasting is to abstain from food. So you technically can't fast from sugar. You can give up sugar, but you can't fast from it. But is God not going to honor your heart and your faith and your desire to grow closer to Him through something like that? No, I think He will. And in the same way here, you in your goodwill, your desire to follow Jesus the best way that you understand Him, have probably spoken something that's false teaching before, just like I have. But that doesn't make you a false teacher because your intention is not that. We see Jesus only condemning people for false teaching in Scripture when these people have a heart that is far from God, have no desire for God, but have a desire for a position or something like that. And when we look at somebody like, again, let's just take Francis Chan, for example, do you see him as somebody who is looking for a position? Like he doesn't take a salary, and he just took, a year or two of his life to completely go off the grid where nobody knew, exactly where he was really, and just, losing his position as well as his church, giving up his church. So again, this video is not for the purpose of defending Francis Chan. I just know a lot about him, so it's easy for me to make, a lot of talk about, him in context. But what I want you to consider is with false teachers, is somebody a false teacher because they're associated with somebody else who's not? And then again, remember, you don't have to rebuke somebody for a secondary topic. A secondary issue is not something that makes somebody a false teacher. You believing in the gifts and them not, or vice versa, does not make one of you a false teacher. It means you disagree on a secondary topic. We need to be really careful with the words that we use. Life and death is found in the power of the tongue. Scripture says that we are supposed to not condemn people who are God's elect, and you don't know if somebody is born again and just speaking falsely or not. You're not God. You're trying to come up with that position and saying that and being so authoritative and letting somebody know that they're not born again is super not cool thing to do. And it would make me concerned for your salvation in judging somebody and being judged by the same measure that you judge the people around you. So hopefully you all receive that. Appreciate you all. Love you all. I'll chat with you guys in the next one.